All right, so let's learn a bit more about how stashing actually works. We've talked about why, we've kind of motivated it. Let's see the commands. Fortunately for us, Git provides a command called git stash that helps us stash uncommitted changes, and it allows us to return to them later without having to clutter up our history with unnecessary commits, right? We generally, you can make a commit with stuff that you know is not quite complete or that you're not ready to commit. It's not the end of the world to have those extra commits, but a lot of the time you don't want to do that, right? Commits kind of are viewed as like the official history of your project. And if you're just screwing around, for example, or you're halfway done with a feature and you just need to quickly switch over, stash really can be helpful. So the command git stash, just git stash, at any point will take all uncommitted changes, basically anything staged or unstaged, and it's going to stash them. It kind of hides them away, but it remembers them. And it reverts those changes in our working copy. So we don't see those changes anymore, but they're still available in that stash that we can come back and retrieve them. So the command git stash is also, basically it's a short version of git stash save. It's just, this is I guess an alias for it. They do the same thing. They save your current uncommitted, your staged and unstaged changes so that you can come back to them. So it saves those changes, does not make a commit, and then we could switch branches just as a quick example. And then at any point, I can use git stash pop to remove the most recently stashed changes in the stash and reapply them to my working copy, wherever I may be. So I can also use git stash to stash some changes and then maybe a little while later, reapply them to a different branch or to the same branch that I stashed them on. So I'll show that. And I'm going to show a little workflow here, some diagrams. So let's say I'm on the bug fix branch. You can see I've got the working directory, some changes I've made. I've modified 2 files. I've staged 2 files, but I'm still not ready to make a commit for whatever reason. And then here's the actual repository with our commits. And I'm working on fixing a bug, but then, one of my coworkers, he needs help. He says, hey, can you take a look at what I merged into master, make sure I didn't screw up everything? Okay, so I need to quickly hop over to master, but I need to first stash my changes because I'm not ready to commit them. They conflict with what's on master. I don't want to take them with me. Whatever reason, I'm going to stash them. So what I do is run git stash. Git stash or git stash save will undo those changes. I don't lose them, but it reverts the changes in my working directory and it stashes them away. So I'm just visualizing, 4 files here. If I go back, we had 3 modified, 1 that I created in green. Same thing here. Both the staged and unstaged changes, they're all in the stash. So now I can hop over to the master branch. I can do whatever I need. I can even make new commits on the current branch. I can really do anything without having to worry about those changes coming with me. And then when I'm done, I can reapply those changes. So I can go back to my bug fix branch where I was, and then call git stash pop, which will take the changes that were in the stash, pop them off and add them back into my working directory or in the staging area. And I can keep working exactly where I was before all of this happened. So I'm going to demonstrate this in the next video, but those 2 commands, git stash and git stash pop, go hand in hand. Git stash puts stuff in the stash, git stash pop removes the most recent thing from the stash.